All right.
Exactly.
5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm sorry.
Oh man, are you serious?
This is important.
Welcome everybody.
Yeah,
What's
we
up?
picked it off this time. Woo.
What's up? How y'all doing? It's Comically Gaming. 125. Yes, that is correct. This is covering the second week of January 2019. I imagine it's cold in some places. It's cold here. I think we.
What do you call cold?
What do you call cold?
Well, I mean it's 46, but it's
Oh.
cold. It's cold for us.
It's 19 here.
Yeah. No.
Oh, you're colder than we are, dude.
We would die at that temperature here.
I remember living in New Orleans, and yeah, at night it's like 58, and like people are out in these gigantic winter coats
Yep.
and like huge hats and stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's cracking us up from the Midwest.
Might wear maybe a light coat if it's 50. I don't know. It depends on if it's windy or not.
58's like maybe hoodie.
Right.
Maybe, yeah.
Right.
Shorts for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, you can rock shorts.
Shorts
Yeah.
with the hoodie. That way you're covering both bases.
Yeah.
Just extend it.
Continue on, Dirk.
Yeah. So this past week I played a ton of Red Dead, just trying to cross the finish line. I'm still not there, but I feel like I'm almost there. I'm about 62%.
Feel like a real cowboy right now.
Oh my God, it's just such a beautiful game, and I really should have waited to cover it because it would definitely be my game of the year out of the batch that I played. I thought I knew what the game was as I was playing it for a while because it stays in a certain mode.
Let me interject here. It's exactly what I said. You rated it after playing halfway through saying, I know the gist of it. This is the game now. And I said, no, keep playing it, because that's not the game. It
Opens up. I mean, it opens up. Without any details, it just really goes beyond a simple Western. Put it that way.
Yeah.
And then I read some more of. I'm getting prepped for Curse of Strahd, the big finale. Hopefully someday. Eventually.
It's coming up.
But I did read a lot more of Ravnica, and I'm kind of digging it, man. It's really bizarre. It's a planet-sized city. I know I mentioned this last time, but it's not just urban though. There's lots of areas of green space in the world that exist within the confines of the city. What's interesting is that the races, there are no dwarves, halflings, or gnomes at all.
Good.
You got 4 new ones, I think. It's like a Loxodon, which is an elephant person.
You got the man construct. No, that's Eberron, isn't it?
That's Eberron. This is you have a Simic hybrid, which is like an elf or a human that's got animal appendages, fixed onto them. And what's the other one? Oh, centaurs and minotaurs also are playable.
Nice.
But the guilds are cool. The whole setup for it is just not. It's a lot better than I thought it would be. I thought I would check it out and be kind of bored and thrown off by, I guess, how different it is in the traditional fantasy worlds. But I find it intriguing. I mean, I'm reading more and more of it. So
The more I hear about it, the more I like it, for sure.
yeah, and I think if we had to choose between that and Eberron, this is a concrete book.
Right.
I know that shouldn't make a difference.
Yeah, I got the book, though. I would appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just I feel like people would like it as a reference out of the book, unlike Eberron, where you'd have to be scrolling on a computer to read their stuff. You know?
Is this the magic one?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
I hear so many
Ravnica,
people talk about it, and they don't even bring that up. So, does it? It is not Forgotten Realms. It's
No.
Ravnica is an entirely different universe,
Planet,
so
yeah.
to speak. Okay.
Multiverse.
Yeah, I think it's
but
part
they're
of the
not even
Yeah,
in
multiverse.
right? It's
They are.
multiverses.
They are, yeah.
They're within the
Different
same
plane.
multiverse.
It's a
Yeah.
different plane.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, that's news to me. Thank you.
Yeah, because they have elves and humans and
Yeah, they
goblins.
incorporated it.
Goblins are a playable race. in
Nice.
this. And I think they take the place of the smaller races. So
Gotcha. And that book, that's not an adventure. It's like a source book.
that is a source book. That's correct.
Okay. Damn. Now
Hey.
my collection is no longer complete. I didn't realize. I thought I could skip it because it was magic, but now I was
Oh,
wrong.
no.
No, and it would be cool because you guys can get it and read out of that instead of Eberron. Like it follows more of the rules of traditional D&D than Eberron does. So
Okay.
pass it off to Jeff. Pass the
Let me
baton.
record. Hold on. Okay, I started now. So
Pass the
Good.
baton. What's up, Jeff?
you passing it to me? What's up?
What's up?
So
What's up?
I did actually quite a bit this week. Been playing a lot of not a lot, but I've been playing Fallout 76 probably maybe an hour and a half a day. So not very much. I'm
Cool.
really starting to dig it, and all the Fallout 4 shit's starting to come back to me. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I got to do. So it's not as bad as everyone says it was. I don't think it is. Everyone was just whining, I think, to whine.
Yeah, I
Um,
think the only complaint that I agree with is that there's not NPCs. It's just the robots. Like, I wish
Yeah.
there was NPCs. That's all.
It does feel kind of, in a
Empty.
way, I guess that's the way it should be. Is it should feel more empty if you look at the timeline of this game.
Yeah, but throw me some ragged dude in a corner or something. I don't know. Like,
Maybe I don't know.
I agree with Jeff.
It feels it's supposed to feel empty, and then you run into the players are
The
supposed to
nuke
be
just dropped.
your vault, dwellers that were with you, and some are assholes and some are really cool to you.
there should be, but even like you're the last one out of that vault. There should be other people from your vault besides the one lady that you're tracing down, like her tapes or whatever.
Well, yeah, the players, the rest of the players.
When I just feel like when the agency of the game doesn't feel thick when it's just audio tapes and just reading text. Like I like a character to go along with that stuff. That's all. That's my only complaint. Other than that, I agree with you. I think people have way overblown the negativity around that game. I enjoy it a lot. I just like just hanging out in that world. The world's really cool, right? But that's my one low gripe. That's all.
And then I played this other game, Atlas. It came out on Steam.
I heard about it.
And it's a survival pirate game.
Ooh.
And I started playing on like the official server, and it is a slow grind on the official server. Oh my god, dude! And you slowly gain experience points just on how long you're playing, and then when you kill stuff, you get when you do stuff, you'll get XP for that, but. It doesn't tell you shit. It has a tutorial that's like 10 screens long, and it fills up 3/4 of your screen.
Oh, jeez.
And it's just a wall of text, and you don't read it because you're going to go out and do stuff. And
It's an MMO?
it is. So I joined this other server, unofficial server, that's accelerated 10 times faster than normal gameplay. And it was nice because it only took maybe a couple hours to get to level 100, but you get to experience the game a little accelerated, but you get to enjoy the end game content.
What's like when you say level 100? What's the cap?
I think it's 125 in the Freeport zones.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, but then you when you get that, then you basically can unlock a lot of the skill trees and actually use stuff to make survival easier instead of just skinning your teeth trying to figure out everything. And you have to craft everything. I mean, you have to find everything and craft it and slowly build.
Last week you were talking about punching trees.
Yeah, Punch and
Yeah,
Tree.
gotcha. This is that game. Okay.
So, like, we built
yeah.
a galleon, which is the largest warship in the game, has like 52 gun ports, and I don't even want to know how long it would take on a normal.
You have
server.
52 members?
We have a couple of people in our little company.
A couple's not going to do it.
Yeah, it is. We already built a galleon.
Not
It's
for
just-
50%.
Cool.
It's cool. It's cool. But and then I watched this really shitty movie, the 1517 to Paris. It was based on the attempted terrorist attack on the train going to Paris, and those three guys.
Oh
is
God, I know what movie you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson in that?
No,
No, I'm thinking.
nobody's in it.
Okay. Okay.
It was
Wait,
directed by
somebody.
Clint Eastwood. It was directed by Clint Eastwood,
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
and it was the worst movie I've ever seen directed by him.
He's getting a little old now.
It was just bad, dude. It was Olivia Munn quality acting bad.
Wow.
and
A load of
and I think we'll touch on this a little bit later, but I played the one shot 30-minute Resident Evil 2.
I didn't.
I don't know that
like
we will
it.
touch on it later. Let's just talk
I
about
guess
it real quick.
I said it on it later.
Eat your time a little bit.
No spoilers.
Well, you can't really spoil a game that came out like
You can.
15
10
years
years,
ago.
Definitely
15
can.
years ago.
Wait, is it a remake of Resident Evil 2 or
Yeah,
is
it's a
it
remaster.
Resident Evil 2?
No, it's
a remake.
remastered remake of
Oh, I don't
Resident
even
Evil.
care about playing that then.
Were
That's
people
an old-ass
clamoring for
game.
that?
yeah.
Were people?
Yes.
Okay.
People were.
And after I played it, I'm just like, okay.
Did it feel like an old game when you
No.
played it?
Yeah.
They redid it. It's totally redone, over the shoulder, with the gun, flashlight, walking down halls and stuff. It feels good. The controls do. It is that game though. Again, it's funny. Like that's a classic. Like that when I had the PS1. Like that's one of the top 10 PS1 games for sure.
Well,
when that came out, it was mind blowing, and people have been like, I've been hearing all week about how like surprised people are at how good it feels, and I agree with that. But it was go to the police office. Find the rooster to stick in the chicken hole or whatever to open
Find the
door,
lion.
right?
Find the lion disc.
Yeah. It's just it cracks me up. Like, but yeah. In a world, again, in a world of an old person who has no time, I'm not gonna play Resident Evil 2 again. I'm gonna play something
And
else
that's my
instead.
other thing is it's fun seeing how they cleaned it up and it feels really good. I'm sorry, dude. I'm not going to pay $60 for a game that was made 15 years ago.
I disagree with that. I think this is a whole new thing. If you talk about development effort
I have
that
no
got put into
opinion
this,
on this.
it's not like they just up-resed the original file.
I don't have much
This
of
is a-
one. I mean,
it's a whole new game.
It shouldn't be $60. It should be like $40.
Then all games should be $40.
I kind of agree with that. I mean, if it's a game,
No, because
That-
unless they altered the story and added more to the story than the original game,
yeah.
maybe.
Dude, it's about man hours that it takes to build a
I
game for how much you're
understand
going to
that.
charge for it. This is
All
a
right,
brand new
right.
thing.
I know.
All right, we're still on Jeff's part.
Hold
of
your
the
pants.
IRL. This is we've gone long.
Hey, it's
No,
Nate's
gone
show, Corey.
Yeah.
What's up, Nate?
It's
What's up,
Nate's
Nate?
show.
How you doing?
So I did, and I also watched that movie Bandersnatch.
Right.
Which we'll cover.
We'll cover it full spoilers next week.
Nice. I
We'll
can't
talk
wait.
about it when Nate
Yeah.
gets on Nate's turn. We'll talk about it. And then I went to the comic book store today, and I got Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker.
Nice.
Wait,
Or
Bubba
so-
Fett?
I got
Is
Luke.
that like
Bubba
from the
Fett.
South, Bubba Fett?
Bubba Fett.
Boba Fett,
How y'all doing?
Boba, and then I got Metal Dice. Metal Dice.
Yeah, those are hot.
Those are great. We were freaked out by that rounded six that you had.
All right.
I didn't understand
In
it.
the picture, it
until you
just
took
looked
it
like
out.
it was totally a circle.
Circle. Yeah.
I know it's
Made no
not-
sense to me. I was
It
like,
rolls nice.
there's no way a circular D6 could work.
I like the colors.
That's what I was
You know-
I
thinking.
do too.
I'd like some Fallout dice, like themed
That'd be
dice.
sweet.
Be cool. Anyway, what you
So,
got,
Nate,
Nate?
What you got?
What you
So
got?
I won't use a
40,
lot of
homie?
time because I ate into Jess there with some of the stuff that was common to us. Bandersnatch, we're going to cover that next week. Full spoilers, everybody. It's good. I think it's definitely worth your time for sure. It's not the greatest thing
excited.
ever, but I thought it was fun for sure. So watch it. It's on Netflix. If you never heard of it, it's called Bandersnatch. Watch
Black
it.
Mirror.
Yeah, the less you know going in, the better, I think.
Yes.
So just watch it, and then we'll
That's the same
talk
thing.
about it next week. What else do I got? The same thing, that Resident Evil 2 demo, we chatted that up. I'm playing more Celeste, been playing a lot of Celeste this week. You guys and everyone else was totally correct. It's great, super, super great. I do think it brings up a kind of interesting conversation in my mind about kind of how the games tell stories, because like I have a friend who he kind of suffers from some of the stuff that game's talking about, right?
Yeah.
And that game's pretty deep
Big
and
time.
does it in a way that when I'm playing through it hits me pretty hard when stuff happens. Like it's like, whoa.
I got a lot of friends like that.
So but for me to
When you see the other side, you're
hold on.
like,
for me to like try and have a conversation with him about Celeste and the story, and when I say like quotes and stuff in the game,
just tell him to play the
doesn't
game.
translate.
Just tell him to play the game.
Yeah, that's my point. It doesn't translate well for you to like
Right.
just if you just write out that story and look at it, it's not as impactful as when you play the game yourself and go through it, right? And
Totally.
that's it's just like there's that it thing about games that's just so much different than a great movie or something like that.
With your friend like that, you don't talk to him about that. You tell him to play the game. You never bring up
Yeah,
the
right.
stuff.
But even to
So
like
the-
explain it to
And if
somebody
he
who doesn't
doesn't
play
play the
games,
game, then let him go. I mean,
let him go.
Let him go.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really great. It's really great. I love it a lot. The other thing that's really great is the Dungeon Master's Guide. I'm
Yes,
I'm
it
plugging
is.
through it. I probably have a quarter of it left at this point. In every page, it brings up something new that I never thought about before to incorporate into the world and the games.
I'm gonna
and
read
stuff.
it next.
Yeah, it's so great. I'm getting so much inspiration from it. And then finally, Deadwood.
That's my favorite show of all time. You
It's
know that, right?
also really great. I'm
my favorite show.
surprised. Dirk, until you said that, like when I was talking about it somewhere online, like I hadn't heard you mention it. Like I have one friend that talks about it. I don't know if it just came out at the wrong time. Like I feel like when that show came out, like it was way ahead of its time.
Absolutely.
It competes with the best of what's going on today, and I don't feel like there's a lot of shows like that back then. I don't know. Like I'm really surprised at how great Deadwood is. Like I recommend
It's the
it to anyone who
dialogue.
hasn't watched it.
That Shakespearean dialogue. That sort of like they sneak in and just the way they talk to themselves.
Sure.
They muse aloud.
Yep.
Is incredible. There's just nothing like that on TV.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the movie, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I watched like Dirk. If you've watched all of Deadwood, we just last night watched the episode where the young people get caught. Just as a FYI.
Oh yeah,
that is pretty crazy. That episode there.
There's
Anyways.
a joke about how often they curse in it too. That's the running joke.
Oh, yeah.
Is swearing is out of control.
And my kids me and my wife will watch it sometimes when they're still awake, but the door will be closed, and you could they'll stick their head in the door and be like, "What are you watching?" We're like, "Go away, go to the other side of the house, please." So,
Jeff would love it if you get a shot, Jeff.
Deadwood.
Is it on Netflix?
No,
HBO. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great Western.
And then just the very last thing I'll say is went snowboarding for the first time this year yesterday. I had a great time. Really best snow I've ever been on since I've been out here. I still have
Nice.
I've been going this is my third year now, and I've never had a real powder day here since I've been here. Then that's different, right? Everybody tells me like
It is.
if you're going in a foot of fresh snow, it's just totally different than groomed stuff. But the snow was the nicest it's ever been. Usually, like a tenth of the place is kind of crusty and icy, and if you're sliding the wrong way, it's hard to stay off your ass at that point. This was all snow. It wasn't like that, so it was great. Had a really good time.
Nice.
Yep. I'll pass the baton to Corey.
Don't step on a
Thank you.
metal D4. It'll hurt.
appreciate you. Yeah, I want to talk about my local D&D group. It's over.
It's over.
You had to cancel it, huh?
What happened?
It. It's,
You gotta wrangle them in, dude.
the group was just too off the wall. I couldn't handle it. It was basically, we did the Sunless Citadel, which should take like 3 to 4 sessions.
Yeah.
And that was not the case with my group. What would happen is we'd be drunk, fucking Nick and Carlos would be talking to each other, and then Felix would be like, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. He'd go smoke a cigarette. And they would start playing Smash Bros. And then he'd come in from smoking a cigarette and be like, all right, let's play. And then one of the guys playing Smash Bros. Would be like, I have to take a piss. And then they go take a piss.
Wow.
And then we'd have to wait another 30 seconds. And then Felix, who was ready to play D&D, jumps in on Smash Bros. And then it's a fucking endless cycle. Basically, it would take me 2 hours to get through 2 rooms in a big-ass dungeon. Like a big-ass dungeon. Like, trying to fucking corral these motherfuckers. And it didn't work. And we played about 10 sessions, I'd say, and I called it. I'm the 10th one. I'm the 10th one. Like, I can't handle that. It sucked. It wasn't cool. Like, they had so much cool shit that they were so close to the end of the dungeon, where there was like 3 super cool possibilities that were about to happen, and they weren't even coming close to them.
Oh my god, that sucks.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, well, fuck it then. We're done.
You gotta set hard rules, dude. I mean,
I know, yeah. It's
unpleasant, but some people don't jive with it easily. Like, it's not made for them.
Yeah, we didn't end on bad terms. They were like, well, you guys still want to hang out on Thursday nights? And I was like, yeah, I'll still hang out. Whatever. I don't care. But the D&D group is over.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, they gotta.
so
It's funny.
rip my D&D group.
They gotta, to some degree, respect the amount of time that you put in when you're a DM, right? Like,
Right.
I felt.
And
like
they argued with me. They would argue the shit out of me.
Oh,
Like,
man.
no, you're fucking wrong. Like, you don't know the rules. You've never played this game before. I've played it for the past 2 years, and you're wrong. Don't fucking argue with me. And I'm the DM. If you read any D&D book, the first thing they all say is, your DM is the ruler.
Yeah.
And I would try and say that. I'd be like, okay, I know what you're saying, but this is what I'm saying. And they would fight with me over it. And I'd be like, okay, well then, all right, whatever, I'm going to smoke a cigarette.
The DM's the ruler for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
It's, you know, there has to be a point of contact for the story to be delivered, and, you know, people just have to have faith in the DM.
Right.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to let you guys die. I got you. Like, I'm fucking running this adventure, doing it good. Don't fucking question me. Like, if you don't get I'm not going to let you die, dude. We just fucking started. You'll be fine. Like, not a big deal. But,
that sucks. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, that was my first experience in the local group.
Has anybody,
Actually, that was my second experience, and they both failed.
Has anybody, come up to you and been like, hey, if you ever do it with serious people, I'm going to join? Or is it just not...
Yeah, Thomas has.
Yeah.
Thomas wants to play with me. I've even talked to him about it. I'm like, my brother started up a group.
Well, maybe if Oliver and Joe don't end up sticking through our group, we could invite him.
Yeah, because I do want to play it with him. Because he really wants to play D&D, and I failed him, kind of. I didn't really fail him. The group failed him. It was a bad experience.
Yeah, that happens. It does happen.
But actually, it wasn't a bad experience. It was an experience. So...
Very zen.
That's it.
Well,
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Breaking.
Oh, we have an alert. Breaking news alert.
from the time that we got to vote on all our news subjects, they just dropped that Game of Thrones comes back April 14th.
That is crazy, dude. It's so nice to have a date.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I don't.
Soon.
It's been so
It is
long
soon.
that I'm forgetting stuff. You know, I'm ready to end it. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been what, over a year?
I need a bow on it.
It's
Yeah.
been a year.
I was talking to my one of my new coworkers. He's really into it, and he and his wife just got to the Hodor episode, and we were just talking through it. I won't spoil anything, but the if the ending is better than that,
That's probably my favorite
story arc,
episode.
I'll be
Yeah.
shocked. Like I'm trying to have low expectations, so it won't take a lot to kind of please me. Like I know it's going to be hard to wrap up the story in a way that satisfies everybody, so I'm trying to have low expectations. But then I just think about that episode and that story arc, and it was so great that I just feel like if they put that much effort into the whole thing and have a plan for this, like I'm hoping that it blows us away.
You know what? At this point, since they're gonna wrap up, and it's like they switched canon between the books and the shows, because the show's gonna finish and the books will never finish.
Well, yes.
It's never gonna finish those books. So we'll have an ending in the show and never have one for the books.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're right about those differences. I think he'll purposefully make the books different, right? Just so that people buy them and stuff.
That's probably
also.
what's screwing them up.
But I think that's an interesting way to do it. Like usually most things work the other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll read the book. You know, I'll get those books when they happen too. Check them out.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah.
If they happen.
If
They
that
will.
happens.
Just like, well, unless he
He's
kicks the
old,
bucket
man.
first or something.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I mean. Robert Jordan. That's exactly what happened with Robert Jordan. He died.
Yeah, Wheel of Time.
Yeah. And that's a lot longer of a series than this one.
Number 5.
Cool.
Marvel's Spider-Man getting Fantastic Four DLC, possibly? The video game?
Yes.
Yeah. On the
Really?
PS4,
They
yeah.
said,
Yeah.
look forward
That's
to something fantastic, is
Yeah.
what they said.
They think it's going to be a DLC suit.
Oh, damn. When I saw this headline and I voted on it, I thought we were talking about the comic book. We're talking about the video game?
Yeah.
Video game, yeah.
You didn't read the article?
No, not at all.
I did not hear it was a suit. Where'd you hear that, Jeff? I heard
That was it was in the article that was linked on the thing, on the stick.
I heard a couple things that it was going to be like the next, like this first one was like the Black Cat saga or whatever, that they were going to do Fantastic Four saga.
I mean, what can they
But-
do with it, though, without, like, you're not going to be able to play
they were
any of the
bringing up-
characters, right?
If
Maybe
you
they
read
bring
the
one in.
article. If you read the article, they talk about how Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four a couple of times, especially when
Yeah,
after
he has.
Johnny died. After Johnny died, he
Oh, when Johnny died, he was
yeah.
a big part of it.
Yep, and then they're talking about maybe it's the Boombastic Baghead because they gave him when they took the symbiote suit off of him so that Richard could look at it, and they gave him a Fantastic Four suit, but they didn't have masks, so they put the paper bag on his head. He flew across the city with the paper bag to hide his identity.
Nice.
It could be that.
Nice.
You know, I don't know how you would play those three like 3 of the 4. You could easily play Thing in a video game, right?
Right.
But the other 3, I don't know what you would do.
Yeah.
How,
Well,
you know?
if
Yeah,
they-
I don't know.
If they portrayed, what's her name?
Invisible Girl.
Yeah, Miss
Woman.
Invisible. Right.
Sue Storm.
Yeah.
Sue
If
Storm.
they,
yeah.
if they portrayed her like the
Or
movie
Sue
suit, you
Richards,
got force
whichever you wanna
fields
call her.
and boom, you can like affect things almost like the Force, right? Like
Yeah.
I could see her too. Well, and even I could see the flame, the torch. I could see that.
It's
Johnny
the flying
Storm.
thing, though.
Yeah.
The flying thing, you know.
Yeah.
I don't
The
know.
flying thing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could pull it off. There's characters that fly in video games,
Sure.
right?
What if they
Yeah.
brought in like Victor Doom though?
In any
The
event,
boss.
it's cool
Yeah.
just that this
Sure.
is branching
Fine,
out to something else besides just Spider-Man, right? Like we had assumed that that
Yeah.
this PS4 exclusive was because Sony owned Spider-Man. It's cool if they get rights and add other Marvel stuff in here.
be
Clearly,
cool.
they made.
Yeah.
You all said it. I haven't played it yet, but that it's the best superhero game of all time. Like,
Yeah.
I hope that it'd be awesome if they get other superheroes the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
All right.
You should play it.
I'm going to.
Number 4. Dirk, take it away. Number 4.
When your hands hurt playing Celeste, you can play Spider-Man.
No, I got
Number 4. D&D announced that we're getting a revised Artificer class next month in the Unearthed Arcana. For people not familiar with it, the Artificer is the
magic item maker.
Yeah, like a gunsmith, or
Right.
the subclasses are alchemist
He
and
makes
gunsmith.
artifacts.
Yeah, well, not just that, like weapons that you can use. I guess with the alchemist, you can use chemicals and use reagents and that kind of stuff. And then with the gunsmith, you're like an engineer.
That'd be sweet.
And magic-infused weapons, you know.
Nice. Nice.
If we had one at Ravenloft, we could have built a trebuchet and just knocked on Strahd's door with a trebuchet.
True. Dude, there's a lot of possibilities.
We gotta wreck this shit.
The thing is, people were really unhappy about the first, because there is an Unearthed Arcana already that exists, and people were crying. They weren't happy with it.
Right.
And they thought they were getting an updated version in Eberron, because Eberron features artificers like pretty centrally, and there was nothing in there. So they took the month off this month for the Unearthed Arcana just to spend it on that, and we'll get a revised one next month. So
Nice.
it's a new class. It's not, it's the only class outside of the player's handbooks. Everything else is subclasses or subraces. Right. This is an actual new class.
Full new class, yeah.
Yeah, which is cool.
That's awesome. Dirk,
yeah.
I don't see anywhere else in this episode where we're going to talk D&D, and I just want to say that we're currently in Castle Ravenloft, which is like, from what I understand anyways, like one of the landmark kind of things of D&D, right? And I feel it in the game that you give. I'm so glad that we asked you to DM for us, and I just feel like I'm in the final
Castle Ravenloft
dungeon of an awesome adventure, right? Like the way you've done the game, like I totally want to compliment you. Like, I
wait, on what part? Like
just the whole thing, just the fact that I'm in the boss castle right now of this adventure, right? And it feels heavy like that when I'm playing now, and so just I want to say thanks again. And,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been fun. Anybody, if you have never checked it out, the Labyrinth Lifers Season 2 is Curse of Strahd, and Dirk's done an awesome job taking us through it.
Wait till that boss fight. That's like a Red Dead 2 curveball.
It's gonna be rough.
It's going to be rough. Look, all I can say is, and I told Jeff this, I encourage you guys to really think out the box and to be prepared before you even get in the room.
You know that we can think out of the box.
Fucking done.
Somebody's going to fart up in his face, and it's going to wreck stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not, he's not an HP punching guy,
Totally.
So,
all right.
Moving
on.
Number 3. Spider-Verse spin-offs might be coming
to TV.
Sony, right? Yeah, that's correct. Sony's considering TV show spin-offs of the Spider-Verse universe.
Not a big fan over here.
No?
No.
What if they did it as good?
If they did it as good, then yes. But
that's what
I have no faith. I have no faith that
I'm with you.
It's good.
It's going to be hard.
It's going to be shitty. It's just going to be regular Spider-Man cartoons.
Yeah,
sucky ones. They're gonna suck.
Yeah, they would have to get the same tone that was established.
No, that movie cost a lot of money to make. I mean, not as much as like the Avengers or anything, but it costs a lot of money, and they can't put that into a weekly episode of a fucking cartoon.
Think about this.
They can't.
Think about this. Nobody ever made an animated superhero movie like that before, ever. Nope. And somebody thought outside the box and made it happen. What if Marvel has that same thought about let's do TV animated for grown-ups? Let's knock it out of the park.
I don't believe they'll do that. But I'm
just hopeful. At this point I'm hopeful.
If that happens, yes, I would be super hyped. I would love it.
I've been dying for an anime.
Happened though. Really?
I've been dying for an anime product from Marvel for years, and they aren't listening to me. So.
Right? Penny part?
Yeah. So, all right, cool. Number 2, Activision and Bungie break up. Bungie is taking over Destiny.
Yes.
That is a good thing.
It is.
That is a really good thing.
Yeah.
Explain why it's a good thing.
Because
Because
Activision blows
Because Bungie is cool as fuck. Their creators talk to you. Their creators talk to you. They talk to you on Twitter. They really love their games. And then Activision doesn't at all. They try and rush the shit out. And they're breaking up. And I get why they should. And they will definitely make a better game. If they don't have Activision behind them, they're going to make a bomb-ass game.
So
Destiny 3 for sure.
I
What do you think, Nate?
I agree with Corey 100%. It's the fact of like in Destiny 2 they presented the Eververse, right, which is where you can put money into the slot machine to make your suits look different and stuff. Real world money, right? That's because of Activision. Activision is a very money focused company, and I don't even blame them, right? Activision makes a lot of good games. I'm not talking shit about them. I've liked games that Activision makes, but Destiny would be better without that stuff. They're trying to make like an RPG, like immersive experience, and as soon as you have to think about your bank account,
Destiny's not a cosmetic game at all. It's not. It's not like Fortnite where you're trying to look like a badass
with a unicorn
in Destiny.
Riding horse.
You just try and be a badass, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
You're right. You're right.
I liked what the first the single player story or the story in it. I just didn't continue after.
From Bungie, right? Like that.
Yeah.
If the game, the Activision would do things like artificially make the grind harder so that you would spend money to do things or whatever. Right? Like
sucks.
They're that type of company. And so in Bungie pre-Activision their games weren't like that. So do they go back?
No.
We'll see. You know what I mean? Time will tell.
Oh, they'll go back to the roots. I think I have a lot of faith in them.
Do they have the money to handle just like does Bungie have the money?
I mean,
Bungie does. They created Halo.
Destiny,
They created Halo 1, 2, and 3. They're fucking rich as fuck.
Okay. Wait, what'd you say, Nate?
I said they bought the rights to Destiny away. Activision owned Destiny, right?
Oh,
and they
I didn't
took
know
it
that.
with them. So they
Gotcha.
must have made a deal, right, to make that happen. I haven't seen any articles that like detailed what it was, but they're clearly doing okay, and I think fan support because of this move will come out for them, right? Like we'll fans see them almost like CD Projekt Red or something like that, like somebody who cares about you, because like Corey said from the start, they do talk to the fans a lot.
Bungie, they really scared us when they signed to Activision. It was fucked. Everybody hated it.
It's true.
Yeah.
Like, it was true. And Bungie was trying to talk to us. Like, they would send out tweets and shit, and you're like, okay. You're Activision, though, so you can go ahead and fuck off.
Well, I don't know about that. I wouldn't take it that far.
That's the way I thought about it.
I wish we could use that as the intro, that clip of him saying that. Cool.
That's
then
a
number
quote, right?
Yeah. Number 1, Amazon and Verizon are both working on game streaming services. So I think we're starting to have that popping up. I mean, we get it to some extent with the current consoles, right?
Ugh, it's gross. No, it's just mobile games.
It's for mobile games. They think that mobile games are the wave of the future, and
that is gross.
So I disagree with that statement. I don't think this is for mobile games. I think this is
for consoles.
Yeah, well, no, they're talking about like Amazon already does it. They did a test with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like they buy the rights to the game, they put it on servers, and if you have a good internet
that was
connection,
Ubisoft.
No, Ubisoft created the game. Yes, they made a deal with Google, and you could play it on Chrome. There was a beta that came out where a bunch of people just opened a Chrome browser and played.
That's
Assassin's
what they want to do, I think.
On an Xbox controller on their PC, right? So that's everybody's bet is that's the future. Is like Netflix style rentals. for a service where you have games and you just have a controller in your computer hooked up to your TV or whatever.
My problem with this, though, is because you're streaming all the data to your computer or your mobile device.
Yeah.
Companies that have data caps on your monthly usage, you start streaming games,
I
you're
think
going to
that's
start
I
hitting
think
that
that's
cap.
the least. I mean, to be honest, I pay for a company that has a data cap. I pay $45 a month to have unlimited internet,
300 gigs.
and it for me, like, I think that's the least of it. Gamers will pay it if it works. They'll pay it. I think the problem is that it's never perfect. Even that Assassin's Creed thing, people said, yeah, it was beautiful, it looked good. When the question came up, do you notice the lag? They're like, yeah, I noticed the lag. It wasn't terrible. It didn't affect my experience. For me, 100 times out of 100 times, I'm going to pay to have something locally on the system that has no lag. And until, I feel like we're like 20 years away from that working perfect. So I'm always going to pick the local solution as long as I can at this point,
Well, before PS Now went downloads, I used to have it, and I hated it for that reason.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yes.
PS Now was terrible.
So PS Now still exists, right?
Yeah, it does.
And if you have a good connection,
it.
People act like it's okay, except when it comes to like super actiony games. Like everybody says, if you're playing like this, like you couldn't play Call of Duty player versus player on PlayStation Now, right? Like you wouldn't be successful at it. And I just feel like we're way far away from fixing that. And even we're in areas where there's pretty good internet. Like think of, I feel like at least half of this country lives in terrible internet world, right?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I just feel like, to be honest, that it's in theory, when they show me it and it works, then okay. I don't care how I play my games. I've given up like having the collection of cartridges or whatever on my shelf, right? That's been long gone at this point. So, but it doesn't work yet. And until I see a streaming thing that works better than what we have today, you know what I mean, with either a PC or a console with the game locally on it, then I don't care. They can all keep trying. I'm not interested.
No, I totally agree.
I think that to have a true streaming game, like you said, is 20 years from now.
Right.
I think that if you could take some files though and have them stored locally to help with that.
Yeah.
I think that would be what they're going to go with first, and then work towards that end goal. But I don't know. I feel like
I don't know, man.
Amazon's
Amazon talks about it's just going to be a tab in Google Chrome.
Yeah, and they have...
The problem with Chrome is it's terrible for memory leakage. Terrible for memory leakage.
Whatever the specifics are, I just don't think it'll ever be as good as playing the game on my console.
I don't think so either.
I don't... I can't doubt Amazon completely because I have a cube that's sitting in my living room that turns my TV on and off by voice control. I know, but I'm just saying, like, they're making stuff happen
that's easy
you
though.
didn't think
That's
possible
easy
before. I mean, nobody else did it.
Turning your TV on and off with a cube is easy.
I'm just saying, nobody else did it. They're the first ones to do it. They got there before anybody else, so I can see them maybe getting there before anybody else again.
It was there before Amazon thought of it. They just made it more mass user friendly.
Right.
Because
home
automation
something that technology's not there for.
Yeah.
I gotcha. All right.
Blockhead Printing for all your custom nerdy shirt printing. Cons, party, or gaming clubs, this is a full-service, badass screen printing company. Check out blockheadprinting.com.
All right, everybody. So this is our section of the show called Hot Topic. It's where we take something from the week that we're geeked about or we want to cover or just want to shoot the shit on. This is, I chose D&D this week. This is something that I had to do research for my own game.
Nice.
But I thought it would be great to share as a topic. So it's special monster traits and legendary creatures, which is found at the beginning of the monster manual, which I never even read. I did not even know about this section at the beginning, to be honest.
I haven't read it yet.
I went to the creatures. I just went to what I immediately needed in the book or what I thought was cool. But there's a whole section at the beginning. It was like a chapter with all kinds of stuff for building your own creature, yada, yada. But real quick, the special monsters traits, I'm just going to go over the ones that are maybe gray areas. The first one is innate spellcasting, which is self-explanatory for a creature, but of note here is unless noted, an innate spell of first level or higher is always cast at the lowest possible level.
Okay.
So you would never, you would never like do it at anything but the lowest level. That's, I mean, I guess there's always if they explain it or if they tell you differently in it, but that's your default.
You mean like you're saying like the magic missile can only be used level 1. You can't use it in a higher.
If it's an innate ability.
Innate, it's not spellcasting.
Right.
Innate spellcasting.
I understand.
Right. It makes a big difference. The also, if they have a cantrip where its level matters and no level is given, you use the monster's challenge rating. Is that crazy?
Wow. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
But
I just thought that was such a strange.
How would you do for a monster, say, challenge rate of just a quarter or a half? Just go with the default for the base level of that cantrip?
Yeah, you'd probably have to just do... Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Let's put
typically round down. Yeah, exactly. You put that... I mean, typically you round down, right? But I don't know.
Yeah.
So, for normal spell casting, that's straightforward as well, but you can replace any chosen spells with what you like. So you don't have to go with, if you have an NPC or monster that's got spells, you can switch them out. You can't do it with the innate spell casting, but you can do it with the spell casting. So I didn't know that. I always thought like the spells that they have that are listed are the only ones that you could use.
Sure.
It's crazy.
I wonder if you make that a little more realistic, though, and just learn about the monster and see how intelligent it really is, to think if it would actually have the forethought to do that.
Right. Well, monsters that, some of low-level intelligence, but there's a ton that actually have,
like
consciousness and, stuff
demons,
like that. They'd be able to switch out.
The black spider.
The next trait is psionics, which I think are so awesome and badass, and I wish we would get to them. They did it in an Unearthed Arcana, but they haven't covered it beyond that. Psionics are basically, mind power.
Telekinesis.
Right. The way that they describe it in the Monster Manual is interesting. They actually call it spells cast with the mind.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because they don't have a system for it yet in 5e, with its own... Because in 2e, as far back as 2e, it had its own system. It was separate from Magic.
It had its own book?
Yeah, I've got it. I got the 2e. Yeah,
let's go.
It's so great. And it's just a great... I think it's a class that they're not tapping, that they should be, but they'll get to it eventually, I'm sure. So yeah, some monsters are capable of that. It works as a spell, but just cast with your mind. In terms of actions, I mean, everything, again, is sort of self-explanatory, but I found it interesting that with ammunition, you should assume that unless stated, your monster has 2d4 pieces of ammunition for a thrown weapon attack.
Oh,
wow.
Sure.
And 2d10 pieces of ammunition for a projectile weapon, such as a bow or crossbow. So yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
There's a lot of cool little stuff there that I did not even think of, but that totally makes sense, and it's in the front of the Monster Manual.
I think I think some of that is in the Dungeon Master's Guide too. Like
I bet,
a lot of what you're saying I've read recently. I just don't know exactly where to point it out. Like it's funny. Like I feel like I had to read these books over 17 times before I really would be getting into all that. Right? Like it's great. Like it's the reason why they give the DM so much flexibility, because it's just so complicated of what level that you want to take it to, right?
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
I look forward to the day though when I can kind of pull that stuff out of my whatever gray matter.
I know. Just to be able to build it from scratch is just a dream of mine. Love it. Limited usage. These are certain features that can only be used a certain number of times a day. To regain them, a monster would need to finish a long rest. If you're thinking that far ahead. But they usually say that kind of stuff in the description. The notation recharge XY, if you've ever seen that, means a monster can use a special ability once, and the ability after that then has a random chance of recharging during each subsequent round of combat. So you'd use a D6 to determine it, and then if it says something like recharge 5/6, you would roll for each round after.
Right. I see that.
Yeah, roll.
I didn't know what you were saying when you said XY, but when you phrase it like that, yes, I've got that.
Yeah, and it recharges with a 5 or 6.
Right. That thing had that with this breath weapon.
Yeah.
You guys fought him like every round. He would roll to get it back.
Yep.
And yeah, if he would hit you twice, you're dead.
You're done.
I think that's an awesome mechanic.
Yeah, I agree.
Just little things like that they paid so much attention to. I mean, I guess it's a history of the game itself, but I love little details like that. And then Nate, this is for you. I think we talked about this before, but grapples. So this one's actually specified here in the monster manual in its little box, and I did not know about it until now. When a monster hits with a grapple attack, it doesn't need to make an additional ability check to determine whether the grapple succeeds, unless the attack says otherwise.
Right.
Okay.
The creature grappled can then use its action to try and escape by succeeding on a strength or dex check versus the escape DC in the monster's stat block.
So you're saying if unless it specifies as an action, you just grapple. You don't.
It's like an attack. It works like an attack.
Right, and then the other person's trying to escape it on their turn.
Right.
Okay.
They would have to wait until their action. Yeah. And then if there's no DC given in the monster stat block, you would assume, this is another crazy little tiny thing, assume DC plus 10 plus the monster's strength athletics mod.
Wow. It's crazy.
I mean, it's so layered. It's nuts. But this is the highlight was I wanted to get to legendary creatures and their actions because there might be one around the corner that you guys run into or something. But so legendary creatures can take certain special actions called legendary actions outside of its turn. Only one can be used at a time and only at the end of a creature's turn, but they don't have to wait. Basically, they can go after the first attack. A creature regains its spent legendary actions at the start of its turn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's what makes them legendary.
Sure.
It's heavy duty. It can forego using them, and it can't use them while it's incapacitated or unable to take actions. Also, if it's surprised, it can't use them until after its turn in combat.
Wow, okay. That's cool.
So that's another, I mean, those are advantages that you can take when you know you're going in on something that's lethal like that. Certain abilities in the PC's repertoire you should take advantage of. So I just wanted to briefly consider lair actions.
Right.
I think we were talking about that.
Yep.
Basically what happens is it's a different set of actions than legendary actions. On initiative count 20, losing all initiative ties, it can use one of these lair action options.
What does that mean?
Initiative count 20 is it says losing all ties. That means you're actually in between 20 and 19. So if somebody rolls 20 initiative, they go first.
Okay.
Otherwise, this action would be at the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Unless there's like a nat 20, which is the only thing needed.
That's similar to how Nate was running the end of Lost Mines.
Yeah.
Yes, so only like when I picture Dirk, when you saying like the enemy has a layer action, like I would assume like if he's in his base, he's got like he knows where the secret pedal is that dumps lava on your head or whatever, something like that, or am I
it does tend to be interactive with the lair itself, and they have to be in their lair to make these things happen. But I don't know if all of them. It's not necessarily like the Batcave. I mean, it could be. It's more like they just have access to certain powers that they might not have outside of their lair.
Sure.
You know, it just makes them. It makes them more of a badass, right?
A little more beastie.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much it, man. I really wanted to get those out. I encourage people to actually read the monster manual, not just use it for reference.
I will.
Like, go through that first section, and actually, if you wanted to keep going, read through some of these monsters because they're awesome. There's so much history in them. Yeah. You know, it's just crazy how big this world is.
Yeah.
It's tough for me to read the monster manual.
Dude, you got to though, man.
If you just flip to the pages where they break out, like they'll talk about like a particular type of monster, and then the next 10 pages will be all their kind of variants or whatever.
Yeah.
And, I try and use it for reference, and it's terrible for reference when you're trying to play with a group. It's not alphabetical. They're categorized by monster categories.
It's by monster type.
Yeah,
and
it's insane.
That's stupid as fuck. I can't look up shit.
You just have to use the index every single time.
Right.
But you're right. That's stupid. They put the little letters down in the corner of the pages. Then it should be alphabetical.
It's semi-alphabetical.
It is.
It's just,
I know.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
According to class, though.
Right.
It's alphabetical going from monster class.
It's true, because if you don't know what a monster type is for a certain creature, you'll be looking. You have to use the index. You know, if you don't know that a mind flayer is a fiend or something or whatever, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for a hot topic.
Yep.
This is the time of the show where we give the love back to the fans.
Thank you.
I want to thank y'all for checking us out, following the show. I talked to a lot of these people on YouTube. You know, I got my regular go-to bunch, but I'm always looking for new friends. So hit me up in the comments section, and we can chat from there. The two that we have today are Robert Lewis and Pill Mama Gaming. So
yeah, that's right. New subscribers.
You know, not to knock. Look, Robert Lewis has an awesome name, but I think the name of the week.
Pill Mama.
Pill Mama.
Pill Mama.
Right.
Pill Mama.
That's a plat.
Unanimous?
Unanimous.
Yeah, it's unanimous.
Award.
Plat.
Platinum of the week.
Got a plat.
You are the name of the week.
And I want to thank all the folks that jumped on Sunday night stream tonight. Maverick, Ray Pops, Ender King, and Julia. And Julia, I'm sorry I didn't get your last name. But
Braun.
There we go.
Yeah, she's Corey's friend.
Julia Braun. And also shout out to Brooke Chaos for joining up.
I wanted to say thank you to Maverick and Brooke Chaos for joining the past 3 weeks in a row. Both of them. We definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hardcore supporters, we appreciate you. Captain Emo, where you at?
He's busy, dude. I know.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just saying.
All right, so before we wrap up the show and get into the comic book club, which is a full spoilers conversation, in case you have not read, this month's comic book is Gideon Falls #9. I just want to shout out real quick before we get into that my Uncle Tom, me and Corey's uncle, has written a book called Vatican Vengeance. It's a modern-day thriller. I have not had a chance to read it yet, but I definitely plan on it. And I'll put in the description below a link to his webpage, which is tommorbach.com. Morbach is MOHRBACH.com. And you can find a book there. So I just wanted to throw it out there. If you read a lot of novels and you're into action stuff, check this one out.
Uncle Tom is fired up, dude. One of my favorite.
I picture the Pope with a Gatling gun.
Oh, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
So I haven't read the book yet, but from what I understand, it's about like an organization that like proactively protects the Pope. And this dude, the dude who's like the star of the book is like, you know, he's this agent that works for them.
Kind of dig that,
Secret
man.
agent.
Yeah,
Man.
right.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
And then don't forget, check it out, because next week CUBC is Killer Be Killed #1.
Ooh, buddy.
And our next week's spoiler topic is going to be Bandersnatch. It's a Netflix original series. Network.
Yeah, check it out.
On Netflix. It's awesome.
Yep. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you're checking out before the full spoilers conversation around Gideon Falls, then we appreciate you. We would ask that you consider going over to patreon.com, patreon.com/GCandC. The show is not free for us, but we would like to try and get it out free for everyone. So if you had the means to throw us $1 a month, we would definitely appreciate that. That would help us improve this show.
Yep.
For sure.
Find us on Twitter at GCandC, or you can join
us on Facebook. You can follow our Facebook groups. Search for Games, Comics, and Culture.
And if you want to go to teespring.com, we've got T-shirts and stickers, and I'm hoping soon to do socks.
Hoodies.
Socks.
Hoodies are easy. The socks, though, I got to play around with design.
Socks would be crazy.
Yeah.
GCandC scrolling down the sock. Tall socks.
Yeah. I want our heads actually going at an angle.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
Corey on the pinky toe. And before we go into our CUBC, we always want to thank Fred Thomas for our music for opening the show, and Xee Reiter for the crazy kick-ass logo.
Yep.
Much love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See.
One more thing. Who dat? We'll see LA next weekend.
Dirk, when I was snowboarding this weekend, I had people wear like jerseys over top of jackets when they snowboard or ski a lot. Like everybody up on the mountain, there's a lot of different jerseys, a lot of hockey ones you see up there. But I was sitting down waiting for my kid to catch up to me, and this dude came by in a Breeze jersey, and I was like, "Who dat?" And then like 7 people behind him were all like, "Who dat? Who dat?" Like all the way down the hill. It was hilarious.
Oh man, I was nervous all game. It was crazy.
Bet you were.
All right, everybody. Woo. Welcome to our CBBC.
Gideon Falls #9.
For Gideon Falls #9.
Full spoilers.
Full spoilers. That's absolutely correct. I don't know if anybody else has been keeping up with the series. I think, Jeff, you said you were?
Yeah, I read
all of them.
You did? Okay.
I missed #7, but...
So Nate's the only one that's returning back to it from missing a few, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Nate read episode 9.
A few.
1 to 9.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? I love it.
Crazy. I like that.
He's the killer. Do you believe he's the killer?
I don't think if Norton.
Norton.
I don't know if Norton's the killer.
That's what they're saying. They say he died. That was the big bomb drop.
That's the crazy thing is because up until this point you thought it was at the same time, and now they put in context that everything going on with Norton is what the priest is going through with the Black Barn.
It's insanity.
Damn. It's very heady.
But he's definitely her brother, right?
I think so.
Norton?
The cop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember they
Norton
talk about her brother losing her brother.
Yeah.
You know, after the mom died.
You think he's her brother? I didn't
she thinks that he might be. She's referenced it before and said, "Do you think?"
No, she doesn't know who Norton is.
No. Well, no, they talk about it in this.
Well, But see, her brother's name is Daniel.
Yeah, they think
Her,
he's
her
Daniel.
brother was the bus driver. Oh yeah, and they thought that was him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they think he's
yeah.
Daniel.
Possibly.
I think that's too easy of a get for Jeff Lemire, to be honest.
Yeah.
He wants you
But-
to think that it is, but
Think that
I don't think it
Norton
is,
is
sir.
actually the cop's Clara's brother, and he was an orphan because he got separated. Because how is that going to work? I mean, it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. That the reason why
Glad
Norton,
that
Norton actually has a real name, and it's not Norton Sinclair. The only reason why they called it that was because of he was supposedly the murderer in Gideon Falls.
right.
I'm glad Zoo got him out of the fucking mental asylum.
Dude, she's going all in on that, huh?
Dude, you know what I like about this is he's kind of becoming the main evil villain. Like, he's probably not good, but building up to this, the whole time he was the main character. Like, we wanted to have faith in him. At this point, I feel like he's
You
kind
think
of the
he's
villain. I think he is after this last issue.
Well, what did he do to make you think that?
She called him out.
How?
Who?
Well,
What are you talking about?
Wait, Nate, what did you think of it?
So, to be honest, I feel like I don't know everything that you all just said went over my head. And going from episode 1 or issue 1 to issue 9,
Oh yeah.
other than the art, which I love, it really calls into my mind of is a monthly comic the best medium for this story?
Well, the movie's the series is on the way, so.
Sure, yeah. It seems like it's written like that, but I mean, it's like reading this. If I would just go pick this book up off the shelf on its own and read this one individual issue, I get nothing from it at all.
Absolutely, it's not that kind of series. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but so why put it out as a monthly? You know what I mean? Like, it's weird
because
to me, like,
you should read it monthly. I read all of it before you read it.
I think they do it.
But you didn't read it monthly either. You just bought it all and read it all, right? Like, that's what I would.
No, I didn't buy it.
Buying, like, whenever they wrap this up, buying the whole collection and reading through it and being.
I think that would make more sense. I think that'd make more sense to read it after it's complete.
Right.
Or like what I've done is, I tried to read the one every month, but it's so hard to remember what happened in the previous one.
I can tell you why they do it. It's because of the suspense in between the regular readers. It is a disservice to people that are just picking it up randomly, but I don't think he's writing it for those people. He wants the people that are reading from issue 1, and he scripts it where you get a cliffhanger at the end of every single issue.
Sure.
That leaves you waiting for the next
Jeff
one.
it's a great writer.
I agree with you guys. Like, I'm not even. That's a different kind of approach to it, right? It's just weird to me. I've never picked up with something like this in the middle of it and tried to do that. I've always just started one through whatever sort of thing, and so it does kind of just bring to my mind, like, why not just put out the whole book at once or whatever? But I guess that's comics, right? So it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's rare that you come across those books that don't care about the casual reader, but there are some out there. I mean.
Right. And maybe even to the betterment of the whole story, right? Like, I'm not even saying that's wrong, that it's wrong, right? It's just remarkable to me. I've never kind of jumped in like that.
Yeah.
To a comic and thought that.
You mentioned the artwork. There's the angle when she enters the padded cell. To get him. Oh my God.
That's the one.
I was like, whoa! It was so badass. He's a master. He is a freaking master. Like, there's very few people. There's nobody that looks like that in comics right now doing that art.
Dude, yeah, the artwork is insane. I mean, just the upside down crosses, and like the very anti-Christianity. Subtle. It's subtle.
Yeah, right.
Like, so it's like, and all of a sudden it's.
Nothing more subtle than upside down crucifixes.
And we
but they're hidden.
I'm sorry.
No, I like that. As the series goes on, the ties between the disparate characters start to reveal themselves. It's he started out with like two main plots, two or three, I guess, main plots, and they're slowly starting to tie together.
Who do you guys like better, the sheriff or what's his name?
Norton?
The main character. Norton.
I like Norton.
I like Norton.
Yeah, because
I'm not
really
too
like
tied
the
up with the
sheriff.
priest. I'm not really tied up with the priest. The sheriff is...
The priest. The priest is what I mean. He's hanging out with the sheriff, and he doesn't believe in God anymore. Like, he's got a deep backstory.
because he was sleeping with his parishioners back in the day.
Right.
I think he's more involved in the plot than he realizes. Yeah. It's cool though. I like that. Also, very cinematic dialogue. Like, I can totally see this on a screen, on TV.
I could too. Yeah, I could.
Like,
even this issue, I could see it as
I think it would actually work better. I would say this very rarely as a visual medium in film because they could really take it psychedelic and just like mind-blowing, in a Legion direction and go crazy.
I could totally see that, Dirk, but I also appreciate like you say, the padded cell page in this book or the red church from the first book. Like that imagery is like really striking compared to a lot of other comics and whatnot. So I'm glad it is a comic.
Yeah. You think Norton and the Doctor gonna hook up at some point, or? I mean, they already started to,
I think they will.
Yeah. She seems to be in love with him, I think.
Yeah. She's, I don't know, maybe not.
She's doing stuff that she is, like, way out of bounds for her profession, right? She's a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going all in. She's just like,
she busted him out in the last issue.
By hitting somebody with a needle. It's crazy.
Oh, that was crazy.
She was like, well, you didn't
you didn't
yet.
Security.
Right. No, it's awesome, man. I can't wait. I plan to get it. When it's collected, I'm definitely going to get it to just read it as one story. Like Nate said, I think it would be better to get it in a linear fashion and have it just as one read. But it's definitely one of the best that Image is still putting out right now, I think. So.
Yeah, I'm glad they're still putting it out, to be honest. Like,
yep.
It's
cool. Well, that's been our CBBC.
Yeah, the next one is, what did we say?
Killer Be Killed, number one.
Number
one. Yeah, my book of the year.
Yep, so we'll go over that next month. So everybody read up on that before
next month or next week?
Next month.
Next month.
Next week.
Not next week.
Not next week?
No.
Okay, what's last week then?
Next week
we're talking about Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch, right?
Our spoilers.
Okay,
yeah.
So go watch that.
Well, thank y'all for stopping by. Definitely read up on Killer Be Killed and join us next time.
Later.
CBBC.
Later.
So.